Good afternoon. It's 2:22. 2:22 means I'm doing the right thing. That's how I take numbers, is that I'm doing the right thing. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for them to answer. Sorry, you're gonna have to deal with. Oh, and they left. Oh well, my bad. Oh, I didn't know. I've been waiting for an hour and a half. So it's a 99 plus. I thought I had time. I'm trying. It's all internet stuff. I'm trying to hook up these pods. Their directions are horrible. I used to do this stuff and it makes no sense. So fuck it for the day. And they're already like, we want our other equipment back. I'm like, well, this equipment you sent me is not working. So, and I go to talk to them about it, and it's an hour before I could, yeah. We're back to the long wait lines for talking to anybody. Ah. So we're going to read a doctor's opinion today. We're on this round. And, I wish I didn't get so many things going through my mind all the time. So, Chris, good to see you. Glad you popped on. I was just getting ready to actually send you a link, so now I don't have to. It's weird because, I'm not seeing what other people are posting to my stuff. I have posted to other people's stuff, and it's not showing up. It's not showing up. I don't know. With PTSD and paranoia, it just makes me feel like Facebook hates me or something. It is kind of weird that, it'll ask me like, would you like to hear blah, blah song? And I'm not going to say their name because they're a body broker, and I'm not going to give them anything else. And that really tells you what it's geared towards, But we're going to get to the doctor's opinion here. If you have a big book, feel free to join me. I'm on page Roman numeral 27. So that would be XX. So X is 10, V is 5, and I is 1. Unless you have IV, then it's 4. So I'm on, it's the second part that he writes, the expansion. Welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion, and I just now noticed that needs to be redone. I've only been doing it for years, and I just now, nobody ever said anything. The should be capitalized. There, now it's correct. If you're here, please say hello. Well, there's people that use proper English. Weird. The subject presented in this book seems to be of paramount importance to those afflicted with alcohol addiction. I say this after many years experience as medical director of one of the oldest hospitals in the country treating alcohol and drug addiction. There was, therefore, a sense of real satisfaction when I was asked to contribute a few words on a subject which is covered in such masterly detail in these pages. Now, a little bit of history on Dr. Silkworth. I mean, I don't really know much about the man himself, but if it wasn't for Silkworth, a lot of us wouldn't be here. The other thing that I appreciate about Silkworth was, well, we'll get into it. We doctors have realized for a long time that some form of moral psychology was of urgent importance to alcoholics. Okay. Moral psychology today would be called cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay. A moral psychology is taking what we have, stripping it down, and rebuilding it with a new set of morals. Cognitive behavioral therapy is what it's called now. Okay. And AA is cognitive behavioral therapy with God. And here we go. But its application presented difficulties beyond our conception. We're talking about God here. Okay. See, in the clinical world, they work with what's called the X factor. In the 12 steps or in recovery, we call it God, the higher power. This is why I push and push and push against, we don't need them in the beginning. Okay. Now listen to what the doctor is saying here. With our ultra modern standards, our scientific approach to everything, we are perhaps not well equipped to apply the powers of good that lie outside our synthetic knowledge. Again, he's still talking about God. Okay. Why is it that we restrict ourselves so much that if you're talking as a professional, you're not allowed to talk about a higher power? Because you're being paid money, and there's a reasonable expectation there, is there not? Okay. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is that way. Doctor sitting here admitting he couldn't do shit. So why is it now? Did the doctors get smarter or something? No, they didn't. Okay. We have solved the drink problem. We don't need any more. We don't need any more. If you want more, we call that selfish. We call that gluttony. We call that taking more than your share, man. No. Okay. Many years ago, one of the leading contributors to this book came under our care in this hospital, and while here, he acquired some ideas which he put into practical application. Later, he requested the privilege of being allowed to tell his story to other patients here, and with some misgiving, we consented. The cases we have followed through have been most interesting. In fact, many of them are amazing. The unselfishness of these men, as we have come to know them, the entire absence of profit motive, and their community spirit is indeed inspiring to one who has labored long and wearily in this alcoholic field. They believe in themselves and still more in a power which pulls chronic alcoholics back from the gates of death. We have our answer. We have our answer. Okay. Of course, an alcoholic ought to be freed of his physical craving for liquor, and this often requires a definite hospital procedure before psychological measures can be of maximum benefit. What is that? That's treatment. It's 28 days. 28 days. Insurance pays for 28 days. It takes about 28 days. That's why it's that way. There's even movies called 28 Days. It's treatment. That's what treatment used to be, 28 days. Not a month, not 2 months, not 3 months. Okay? And during this time, this person is going to be removed from alcohol. Why do we need a hospital procedure? because for some, and it's not a procedure. In that case, the procedure was just going through it. Okay, that doesn't mean they're going to cut you open. But we need to be freed of the alcohol before any of this will work, because any alcoholic still in their cups cannot dream of taking these steps. They want to. We want to. I'm dealing with somebody right now that's in the family. I know they want to quit. I know they want to, but it's been so long that it's going to be hard. I didn't go to treatment either, Chris. I went to AA. I had already been to treatment. I didn't need treatment again. I've already been to treatment. You don't need treatment, We're trying to be cleared of our head. That's what treatment used to be. Just keeping people safe and applying some of the 12 steps. Okay, what should you be learning in treatment? Steps 1, 2, and 3. It should be 12-step based. This is why we're off. This is why it's not working right now. All right. We believe, and so suggested a few years ago, that the action of alcohol on these chronic alcoholics is the manifestation of an allergy, that the phenomena of craving is limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate drinker, ever. Not everyone could be an alcoholic, but anyone could be a drug addict. Okay? There's a difference. Is alcohol a drug? It's classified as a drug, but it's not in the same sense of how it has the effect. You cannot make yourself an alcoholic. You can't. I don't care how much you try to drink. Okay? Not only that, but I doubt an average temperate drinker is going to try and become an alcoholic. We believe chronic alcohol, that the phenomena is this class never occurs. These allergic types can never safely use alcohol in any form at all. Oh, I was going to send you one, but instead I just send you okie dokie. Hi, Ingrid. See, I knew you were going to be available. Should have listened to my intuition, told you I was going to be alive. All right. So we cannot use alcohol safely in any form. Aftershave got alcohol. NyQuil. Right. Non-alcoholic beer has alcohol in it. It does. Okay. Got it. I have to stay away from it all. And you got to be very, very careful on what you buy, especially these drinks. They can look full. They can look weird, but they have alcohol in them. Okay. And once having formed the habit and found they cannot break it, once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them, and they become astonishingly difficult to solve. Yes, mouthwash has alcohol in it. Yes, it does. Yep. Thank you, Gary. Okay. Why? Why are they astonishingly difficult to solve? Because they don't exist. You can't solve a problem that doesn't exist. Okay. Frothy emotional appeal seldom suffices. The message which can interest and hold these alcoholic people must have depth and weight. In nearly all cases, their ideals must be grounded in a power greater than themselves if they are to recreate their lives. See, now you and I can do this. If you are an alcoholic who has decided to get into recovery, you are one of those people that can have depth and weight. But it must be all that you carry. The moment they find out that you're getting something else out of it, I will tell you right now, once an alcoholic clamors for reliance upon a human power, we're done. We're done. Well, me too, Chris. I'm recovered. Woo woo. Just means we get to use our brain again for anybody here. Recovered just means you hit step 10 and you've been restored to sanity. That's all it means. Okay. But that means a lot. Okay. If any feel, as psychiatrists directing a hospital for alcoholics, we appear somewhat sentimental. Okay. And this is what I challenge people that try and tell me what a detox should look like when they are non-alcoholic and professionals. This is kind of what I tell them. Okay. I tell them, come hang out with me for a weekend. And you know why I say weekend? Because I know they get the weekend off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their personal time. Let them stand with us a while on the firing line. That's where I'm at. I'm on the firing line and I know who's there. I recognize who's there. I look up and down the aisle. I look forward and backward and I know who's on the firing line. Okay. And I know because I'm there. I see the tragedies, the despairing wives, the little children. That's the one that fucks me up. It's the kids that fuck me up because I go right back to being a little kid, man. I go right back. It messes me up. Let the solving of these problems become a part of their daily work and even in their sleeping moments. And the most cynical will not wonder that we have accepted and encouraged this movement. We feel after many years of experience that we have found nothing which has contributed more to the rehabilitation of these men and women than the altruistic movement now growing up among them. Wow. Wow. Even a doctor is a national doctor, and that's what he did. He worked with alcoholism. Hey, even Dr. Young agreed with us. He agreed with what AA was doing. And I tell you, most psychologists will agree with it. They understand it. Jordan Peterson, okay? Who's the other one? I can't remember his name. But he knows his stuff. I just don't listen to him because he likes to push mushrooms. Um, Dr. Gabor, mate. Dad, and it just starts to bug me when somebody talks like this. Hold it, diet. It's not a bad impression of him, actually. Good guy, though. Men and women drink essentially because they like the effect produced by alcohol. That's why I drank. That's exactly why I drank. In the beginning. That's, So I'll make this story short. I didn't have many friends, right? Didn't have many friends. So first time I was invited somewhere where there was drinking, I'd already started drinking before then, but right? We were drinking, and I think I was on like my third or fourth, and everybody else was on their half. I became popular because I could drink a lot of alcohol. I slammed my first beer. They're like, whoa, dude. And I was finally accepted after 13 years of fucked up bullshit. I found my answer. I was finally accepted. It's all I wanted. I was 13. What does every 13-year-old want? To be loved and wanted and accepted by their peers. And I would chase that moment for the rest of my life. Never ever to find it again. Why? Because it was a new experience, and I'm not going to experience something new twice. So I would add things on, or I would go for the hard alcohol. If I got pills that said, please do not drink on these, I got happy. Happy. I got excited because they were really happy. Okay. The sensation is so elusive that while they admit it is injurious, they can't differentiate the true from the false. I know it's hurting me, but I can't see it. Why is this? Because when you drink, you don't dream. And when you don't dream, you don't REM. And when you don't REM, what happens when you don't sleep? Cuckoo, cuckoo. You go crazy. Sleep deprivation it'll mess you up. That's why you walk around in a fog. That's why you need the definite stay of 28 days. Now, some people may happen quicker. Some may take longer. It was like 3 months. I don't remember much of the beginning of my sobriety. That's why I don't talk about it much. I have to ask my wife what happened. All right. To them, the alcoholic life seems the only normal one. Oh, talk about a punch in the gut. That's how it felt. They are restless, irritable, and discontented unless they can again experience the sense of ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a few drinks. Drinks they see others taking with impunity. Now, what does impunity mean? It means without consequence. That's what that means. Without consequence, man. So they are drinking without consequences, not you and me. Now, I didn't get in trouble every time I drank, but every time I was in trouble, I had been drinking. I have been drinking. Yeah, Chris. See, there's some of us that just, the first 2 months were like, what? That's why it's important that you pick your sponsees. And here we go. After they have succumbed to the desires, so many do, and the phenomenon of craving develops, they pass through the well-known stages of a spree, emerging remorseful with a firm resolution not to drink again. I did this. Well, pinky swear, I will do everything. I mean, I would promise everything. And I meant it. I meant it. To the core of my fucking soul, I meant it. That's why it hurts so bad. That's why it hurts so bad. I am going against every natural instinct to drink. That in what are the instincts? The instincts are to stay alive and procreate. Those are instincts. Okay? We want to live on. That's why I say things like, I don't want to be famous. I want to be infamous. It sounds bad, but it's not. All right. Okay. This is repeated over and over. And unless this person can experience an entire psychic change, there is very little hope of his recovery. That's where we come in. That's where we come in. We can create a psychic change. What is a psychic change? Psychic mind. Change. You change your mind. That's it. Please stop making it more than what it is. It's not. Sometimes it comes with a spiritual experience, but it usually does not. If you read the spiritual experience, most of them are of the educational variety. They happen over time. Psychic change is the step before the steps. It is step 0. It is the gift of desperation. It is the moment when we decide, I don't want to do this anymore. That's what it means. Okay. Thank you, Ingrid. It was good to see you for a minute. Fuck back to school. I'm so glad my kids are grown. All right. One of the benefits of being a little bit older. On the other hand, and as strange as it may seem to those who do not understand, once a psychic change has occurred, the very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems he despaired of ever solving them, suddenly finds himself easily able to control his desire for alcohol. The only effort necessary being that required to follow a few simple rules. Now remember, there were some things that happened before this. Of course, ought to be freed from his physical liquor. This often before psychological measures can be of maximum benefit. There we go. AA is the psychological measure. Okay. I was a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm going to tell you, DSM is easy reading for me. I've been doing this too long. Okay. Just like go listen to air traffic controllers. I was just listening to, I have no idea what they're saying. Right? And then what happened? Then another person appeared that had depth and weight, right? It said frothy emotional appeal. So we had the procedure, which was getting the alcohol out of our, okay, and then we have a person that comes in and interferes with that and helps create a psychic change. And we do that by sharing our own experiences. Why can you talk to that person sitting in that hospital bed? Because you were sitting there too. Because you've been there. And because of your experience, you can say these things. You have agency. You have the right. You have created the right. Men have cried out to me in sincere and despairing appeal, Doctor, I cannot go on like this. I have everything to live for. I must stop, but I cannot. You must help me. I know that desperation. I can feel that fucking desperation. Now, a normal person reading that is just going to kind of take it as what it is, right? Because we have to remember something. Unless it directly affects you, you really don't care. Okay? Faced with this problem, if a doctor is honest with himself, he must sometimes feel his own inadequacy. Okay? I take that line. You want to know why I take that line seriously? Because this doctor has spent most of his life trying to work with chronic alcoholics like me to go home every day bailing. And he got up every fucking morning and showed up for us. That's why I believe him. That's why I believe him. He was 100% on board. He came as close to understanding as a non-drinker can. That takes something called a servant's heart. I can tell you now, Dr. Silkworth was probably broke. Why? Because you don't work in rehab for money. He didn't do it for money. I guarantee you his mother or father was alcoholic. Somebody he was close to died from alcoholism. I guarantee it. I wonder if there's information on Dr. Silkworth. It'd be cool to go back and give a little bit of respect. And, I mean, he was our greatest medical benefactor. And I don't think doctors are any smarter now than they were in 1936. Okay? We don't evolve that fast. We just have more technology. You have access to knowledge easier. That's it. And even then, the knowledge isn't always correct. Okay? The principles on Google for the 12 steps are wrong. They're wrong. On Google, you'll go there and it'll say that the principle behind step 9 is forgiveness, and it's not. It's justice. Okay? So it's things like that. All right. May feel as though, although he gives all that is in him, it's often not enough. One feels that something more than a human power is needed to produce the essential psychic change. Okay. Now you're saying, Dion, you said you didn't need a spiritual experience. You don't. You didn't say anything about a spiritual experience. Okay. Okay. Okay, kids. Drugs are bad. Though the aggregate of recoveries, okay, what does aggregate mean? It means the total sum of. So, though the total sum of recoveries resulting from psychiatric effort is considerable, we physicians must admit we have made little impression upon the problem as a whole. Many types do not respond to the ordinary psychological approach. Why? Because they want something from us. Now, I'm going to have to kind of go back on something I said, don't I? Because he said something here. He did help some people. There are some people he succeeded with, but not enough to create something that would be viable for everyone. So when AA came along, or when Bill came along, could you imagine how much this guy's life changed? Now he got to go home succeeding. Why? God. God. I do not hold with those who believe alcohol is entirely a problem of mental control. Okay. I've been telling you now, I stay away from hard drugs on purpose. I have great willpower. Not for alcohol, though. So, sure, I have great willpower, okay? But I don't use it all the time. It's not very often that I have to use my willpower because I have a higher power. Now, there are times when I have to bring all my willpower forward to do something, maybe to be willing or something, or may leave the house, get to a meeting, things like that. Okay? I have had many men who had, for example, worked a period of months on some problem or business deal which was to be settled on a certain date favorably to them. And that's the problem, isn't it? They took a drink. They took a drink a day or so prior to the date, and then the phenomena of craving at once became paramount to all other interests, so that the important appointment was not met. These men were not drinking to escape, they were drinking to overcome a craving beyond their mental control. So when a person has a slip, what happened? It's right there, there's the answer. You were drinking to escape. You were drinking to overcome a craving beyond your mental control. Okay. Now I've been talking with my wife, when there's somebody that was down in Texas with them, and he's ready to get sober, and even on the day of the wedding, the funeral, he did not drink. Fucking phenomenal, man. That's awesome. Good for him. Okay. Day before he had a few. Now I get all this. I understand. In fact, my wife called me. I'm like, okay, on this day he can kind of do this because if he would have just ended, if let's just say he just stopped drinking right then and there, he would have been in the hospital. He'd be in the hospital, and then he wouldn't be able to see. You don't know. You don't know. Okay. What I'm saying is, I relapsed more times because I was happy. That's what I'm trying to get at. There are many situations which arise out of the phenomena of craving, which cause men to make the supreme sacrifice rather than continue to fight. The supreme sacrifice is suicide. Okay. I've seen it. Sometimes it's just too much, and I get it too. I understand it. I actually wanted to make the supreme sacrifice rather than fight. I tried through alcohol. The classification of alcoholics seems most difficult and in much detail is outside the scope of this book. There are, of course, the psychopaths who are emotionally unstable. We're all familiar with this type. They're always going on the wagon for keeps. They are over remorseful and make many resolutions, but never a decision. I was one of those. I've done that. There's a type of man who is unwilling to admit that he cannot take a drink. He plans various ways of drinking. He changes his brand or environment. There's a type who always believes that after being entirely free from alcohol for a period of time, he can take a drink without danger. There's the manic depressive type who is perhaps the least understood by all of his friends and about whom a whole chapter could be written. Then there are the types entirely normal in every respect, except in the effect alcohol has upon them. They are often able, intelligent, and friendly people. Now, I'm actually just going to go ahead and read this part. All these and many others have one symptom in common. They cannot start drinking without developing the phenomenon of craving. Yeah. Okay. Because I'm all of these. That whole thing described me just in various parts of my drinking. Yeah. Okay. As we suggested, may be the manifestation of allergy which differentiates these people and sets them apart as a distinct entity. It has never been, by any treatment with which we are familiar, permanently eradicated. The only relief we have to suggest is entire abstinence. Okay, entire abstinence. Now, that is one symptom that we all have in common. Okay. What are some of the symptoms we have in common? Denial. Denial is one. I'm not hurting anybody. Doesn't matter what level you're at. I know something else. The thing is other people might have more money, but we're all broke. They're just broke at a higher level. That's all it is. But we're all broke. We're all living paycheck to paycheck. See, we have a lot of commonalities. Bottoms. We all have one thing in common with our bottoms. What did we lose? Me. I lost me. You lost you. Yep. Mr. Hyde came in, or Miss Hyde, whatever you want to call it. They came in, took over our lives, man. Okay. This immediately precipitates us into a seething cauldron of debate. Much has been written pro and con, but among physicians, the general opinion seems to be that most chronic alcoholics are doomed. I tell you something, a lot of doctors don't like to work with alcoholics and addicts. Okay? And I don't blame them because I was never freaking honest. I was never honest with my doctor, man. And how are they going to be able to help me? They didn't get into that field to not help people. Okay, what is the solution? Perhaps I could best answer this by relating one of my own experiences. That's what I like. Okay, so he isn't sitting there. Have you noticed that Dr. Silkworth is not saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that? He's sitting here saying how he was wrong. This is a 10th step by Dr. Silkworth, admitting that even though he can give everything in him and how smart he is and everything else, it wasn't enough beyond human, and understanding, a doctor understanding that somebody is beyond human aid. Thank you, doctor. So what does he do? He gives an experience, and you may experience this too. It has happened to me. Okay, a lot of stuff going on. I gotta check this real quick. Okay, lending for bad credit. Oh, that's me. About a year ago. I'm not. About 1 year to this experience, a man brought in to be treated for chronic alcoholism. He had but partially recovered from a gastric hemorrhage and seemed to be a bad case of pathological mental deterioration. That's a lot. He had lost everything worthwhile in life, and was only living, one might say, to drink. Living just to drink. He frankly admitted and believed that for him there was no hope. Following the elimination of alcohol, there was found to be no permanent brain injury. That is surprising, actually. Alcohol can, you put too much in, it'll eat your brain. I don't know how to put it into clinical terms, but it'll eat your brain. There's parts of my brain, there's some memories I don't have anymore because of my drinking. That's scary shit, man. Okay? Drinking too long can lead you to what's called a wet brain, which is dementia times 10, because you're still an alcoholic. Whew, right? He accepted the plan outlined in this book. 1 year later, he called to see me, and I experienced a very strange sensation. I knew the man by name and partly recognized his features, but there all resemblance ended. From a trembling, despairing, nervous wreck had emerged a man brimming over with self-reliance and contentment. Contentment. Talked with him for some time, but was not able to bring myself to feel that I had known him before. To me, he was a stranger, and so he left me. A long time has passed with no return to alcohol. What a beautiful story, man. And I bet he went, I mean, obviously, it meant something to him because he put it in this book. But imagine that night when he went home and did his 10th step and he found these dividends, and then he got to go back to work the next day and help more people. What a relief this man probably had. When I need a mental uplift, I often think of another case brought in by a physician prominent in New York. Patient had made his own diagnosis and, deciding his situation hopeless, had hidden in a deserted barn, determined to die. That sounds like an alcoholic to me. And I understand it too. I get it. I wanted to hide in a barn. That actually, and drink myself to death. In my mind, that actually sounds comfortable. And that's scary. That is scary. Following his he was rescued by a searching party and, in desperate condition, brought to me. Following his physical rehabilitation, he had talked with me, in which he frankly stated he thought treatment a waste of effort, unless I could assure him that no one ever had, that in the future he would have the willpower to resist the impulse to drink. Woo. His alcoholic problem was so complex and depression so great that we felt his only hope would be through what we then called moral psychology, and we doubted if that would even have any effect. However, he did become sold on the ideas contained in this book. He has not had a drink for a great many years. I see him now and then, and he is fine a specimen of a manhood as one could wish to meet. If he saw him every now and again, what does that tell you? He was going to AA meetings. That's what I'm getting out of it. I earnestly advise every alcoholic to read this book through. And though perhaps he came to scoff, he may remain to pray. This has happened to me before. People that have approached me to scoff, which means debate, go against, and then I help them get sober. It's okay. It's okay. I understand the denial. See, when that's going on, I hear the denial. I just hear me talking is all I hear. Right? Yeah. All right, 43 minutes. I think that works. It's almost a meeting. Almost. So I'll get in a good stretch here. I don't think I have any final thoughts on it except, freely given, freely given. This was freely given to me, and therefore I give it away freely. Right? Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't gifts that come back to me, and they are gifts. They do. But here's the thing: is if I continue to focus on those things, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start keeping track. No. See, I may have gotten a gift, but I don't know what it was for. I don't know what it was for, and I don't need to know. I just know that moving forward is what I need to do. That I'm going to become a better person every single day. Okay? I'm going to have some humility. I'm going to ask God for help. Hey, God, I need some help. And I'm going to remain open-minded. Okay? The moment we're not open-minded, okay, I'm certainly open to things. Okay? But I also know when bullshit is bullshit. Okay? And I know this. There's no newfangled way of getting and staying sober and having good, healthy, content, joyful, long-term sobriety. There's no newfangled way. You know, you'll hear things like multiple pathways, and I believe in multiple pathways. What does that mean? It means mine's not the only way. That's all. When it comes down to it, that's what it means. It means I'm going to allow you to recover the way that you want to recover. But if I'm going to be any kind of friend at all, if I see you in danger, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. Okay? Because the way I see it, and this is the way I did sales, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all the information, and then you can make a decision. My job is to give you the information so that you can make a good, healthy decision. So therefore, ask questions. And if you're embarrassed to ask questions, which I get, because people can be jerks, feel free to reach out to me. There are no stupid questions, just silly answers. Because I have a lot of stupid questions too. They're not stupid. I'm just trying to understand so that I know how to treat you the right way. So that I can figure out, whether I'm causing more confusion than harmony. And that's really the key. Am I causing more confusion than harmony? If I am, I need to get out. If you're causing more confusion, if I'm causing more confusion, yeah. And I know I am. Because my tummy tells me. It says, Dion, that's not cool. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. I gotta be really careful on the singing and the impressions and everything else because people keep saying, "Oh, that's our content." There is no original content. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I love you. I hope you have a good day. I love you. Peace out and have a day. Bye bye.